It's been a day full of very big stories. Here's another one that's been grabbing headlines. Goldman Sachs receiving that subpoena from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. And we'll show you the stock market response. Initially, it was a very sharp decline for the stock. Fell on that news that the DA was seeking information over activities leading up to the financial crisis, 08 and 09. You can see the stock came off those lows by the end of the session. Last month, the Wall Street Journal reported that Goldman executives were bracing for federal subpoenas after the Justice Department received a Senate report concerning Goldman's activities during the crisis. So what are the ripple effects of today's news? Let's bring in attorney Andrew Stoltman of Stoltman Law Offices and former SEC Chairman Harvey Pitt, who's now Chief Executive of Colorado Partners. Andrew, you think that the report from the Levin group, Senator Levin's committee, makes it clear that there should be some indictments of Goldman executives. Is that right?
Yeah, there's no question that report lays out a very clear roadmap for an indictment against the company for securities fraud and market manipulation, and also a very clear case that Lloyd Blankfein misled Congress. And if indeed the Department of Justice or the New York DA's office decides to bring charges, I think that report provides a crystal clear roadmap for prosecutors.
Make it a little clearer for us. Specifically, what do you believe the committee report shows that they did that would warrant an indictment?
I think the committee report has to be taken in the context in which it was delivered, which is it's a congressional report, which isn't subject to the same demands of evidence and meticulousness that a prosecuting attorney would exercise before bringing any criminal charges. I think the biggest problems are the assertion that there was deliberate and willful misleading of Goldman customers with full knowledge of many people in Goldman who were involved in those activities. If those are true, if those allegations are true, those would be very, very serious charges.
And from that standpoint, Chairman Pitt, what has taken so long? I mean, one of the frustrations for many people is that there have not been any charges brought against any executives. When we hear these stories that have been leveled, not just about Goldman, but other companies as well, about misleading the public, about selling a bill of goods, whatever the case may be, and there's been no charge against anybody to date. Why is that, Harvey Pitt?
I think the reason is very simply this. The power to accuse is the power to destroy. The Senate committee didn't have the same imperatives facing it that government prosecutors have. So government prosecutors want to be absolutely clear about the validity of their proposed indictments before they go forward. And that is what seems to be frustrating many people. But it's the level of proof that is needed before you put someone in jail.
Andrew Stoltman, let me go back to that question I was asking you before. What specifically out of the Levin committee report did you see that you feel warrant these a possible indictment?
Well, a couple things. I mean, first off, Senator Levin made it very clear that Goldman Sachs traders intentionally manipulated the market with respect to certain securities to drive down the prices so they could buy them cheaper.
How did they do that?
Well, by simply, I believe it was by spreading some information that wasn't necessarily true about those securities.
So they're talking up an investment as they're selling it at the same time.
Yeah, but yes, and you can't do that. I mean, you can't intentionally drive down a price like that. That's potentially market manipulation and a violation of the federal securities laws. But I think the biggest problem were the examples that Senator Levin cited of Lloyd Blankfein misleading Congress some 37 or 47 different times. I think that's an independent allegation that could lead to an indictment.
Chairman Pitt, where does this go? What happens now? Have the floodgates been opened at this point, do you think?
Well, I think what happens now is it's clear that the Manhattan DA is going to investigate this and will presumably try to do it quickly. I think the Justice Department is already looking at this, and I don't believe that the SEC has given up any thoughts of a potential civil action against people at Goldman. This report creates a call to action on the part of government, but it isn't itself proof that anybody actually committed a crime.
Gentlemen, thank you both. Very interesting story just beginning there. Appreciate your time.